Okay, so today we're going to go ahead and review some hair transplant related TikToks, and I'm going to give you my opinion as we go along. Let's jump straight into it.
I may have made a mistake getting hair transplant. In order to get a hair transplant, you need a donation. My donor area was brave enough to sacrifice their lives in order for the front of my head to look fuller. Now, do I regret this decision? The way I'm looking? A little bit.
So what he's talking about here is when you go ahead and get a hair transplant, what they're going to do is they're going to extract hair follicles or grafts from either the back or the side of your head. Once these hair follicles are gone, they are gone. You're not going to regain the hair on the back and the sides of your head.
But I'm trusting the process. I believe we've officially hit month number 5 post hair transplant. And my confidence level, if I'm being honest, it's starting to rise a little bit. This is only month 5, and it usually takes 16 months to 2 years to see full results. And for everyone that's asking...
That's right, it takes a little while. So I spoke about this up to about month 5, 6. I was actually unhappy and unsatisfied with my result. And almost out of nowhere, about month 8, boom, it just started to grow out of nowhere. So he still needs to wait a little bit longer, I'm afraid.
If the donor area is going to grow back, sadly, no. They basically took hair from the donor area, which is the area of donation. They took those hairs along with the roots and just implanted it to the front of my head. Those areas will never grow hair again. If I keep my hair thick enough, you won't even notice. As for how I'm feeling on month 6, the itchiness is 95% gone.
So as he just explained, the hair on the side and the back of the head is not going to grow back, but that is the trade-off that you're going to have to deal with when you want more hair on the top of your head.
I believe by month 6, the itchiness around the donor area will completely stop. The numbness is gone, but it's still a little tender from the injections of anesthesia that I got. And I also believe by month 6, that tenderness will be completely gone. This is a quick little update for month 5. Be sure to follow me for more hair transplant updates.
Yeah, a lot of us tend to keep our hair on the side short, so for a lot of us, it is a worthy trade-off, trading the hair on the side and the back of the head for it to go on top. For me, it took about 8 months, which is coincidentally the same amount of time that it took for my hair to really start growing out. Maybe there's something to it. That looks good, honestly. Give it a couple more months and you will see the results so much more. On to the next. Okay, so here we've got my friend Jack, who just went over to Turkey and got his hair transplant. I believe only about a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago. So he is still in the early stages, but you can go check out his TikTok. He does document his journey as he goes along. So it could be quite interesting for some of you to see. But as you see, arrived in the hotel, he's basically documenting the entire journey, which is very similar to what a lot of us content creators do when we go and get something like that done. I did something very similar. I did something like that with my teeth as well. So yeah, so as you see, he's getting the hairline drawn on. So the front bit is where he's getting the transplant, and the side and the back is the donor area. So that's what's being drawn on. So he mainly got hair transplanted on the hairline. So he didn't really need much thickness on the back, which is something that I actually needed a lot more of instead of the hairline. But yeah, as you see, the scabbing, and you can see that the donor area is actually quite large. Everyone's going to have different amounts of hair follicles available grafts that they can extract. For some people it's a lot of them, for some people it's not. Some people can't even get a single hair transplant, and other people have the ability to get 3 to 4 different hair transplants. So, but yeah, anyway, if you want to check Jack's page and follow his journey, this is his TikTok linked there. Okay, so day 3. The first head wash. I remember the first head wash. So when I went and got mine done, I actually got my first head wash done at the clinic because we stayed there for 4 days and they did that for us. They sent us back with a whole bunch of different, look at all the food that they give you out there. The food out there is actually pretty good that they give you. So I remember that they washed our heads out there, and they showed us what to do and how to do it. And actually, we were advised to wash the head, the scalp, quite a lot daily, but to not obviously use like a very strong shower, but almost like over the tap, and maybe just like obviously pour it on top of the head. But yeah, so as you see, he's just arriving to the clinic, and yeah, this is actually the first time I'm seeing this video, so I'm just basically commenting on it off the cuff as I'm seeing it. So yeah, so this foam, the reason they put that foam on top of the head is before they give you that first wash, and that is to soften up the scabs a little bit. So you're obviously not meant to wash them, but you do still want to keep the head or the scalp hydrated. So yeah, anyway, we're going to move on to the next. This is the day 3, so this is what's going to happen on day 3 when you go back to the clinic and get that first hair wash. Okay, this is actually a very interesting video that I've wanted to comment on, and that is about the sleep, because I know a lot of people are wanting to know about that. A lot of people would be interested in that, so let's see what this guy has to say.
How do you sleep after a hair transplant? Well, the answer is you don't, to be honest. The first few days after the procedure are so important. You cannot damage the hair follicles because they won't grow. You don't want to pay all this money for a hair transplant and then they don't grow. So the clinic that I went to were amazing. They sent me a huge list on WhatsApp of like all the things that you can't do after you've had your hair transplant. Most of those things are minor and you don't even think about it, but there's 3 things which are essential in life which you have to do differently.
That's true. So the hair follicles are very fragile in the first couple of days, maybe 3 to 4 days after the hair transplant. After that, it becomes a lot easier, and you're gonna have a lot easier time with making sure that you keep them safe. But at first, it is crucial that you're keeping your head very, very protected. So obviously you can't wear a hat or anything like that. So it's gonna be tough. As far as the sleep, I remember that first night when we got dropped back to the hotel after an 11-hour procedure, I was completely out, and I slept through the entire night. Now, as you start to settle into it more, the head starts to itch. It does become a little bit trickier for you to sleep, and it's one of those things. After about 2 weeks, when the itching stops, you then end up being able to sleep, go back to just go back to normal. But up to that point, it can be pretty tricky.
The clinic that I went to were amazing. They sent me a huge list on WhatsApp of like all the things that you can't do after you've had your hair transplant. Most of those things are minor and you don't even think about it, but there's 3 things which are essential in life which you have to do differently.
Yeah, so they provide you with a whole list of what you can't do, what you shouldn't do, for how long. So it's very extensive and very, very helpful.
1 is sleep. You have to sleep sitting upright with a neck pillow at a 45-degree angle for at least the first 3 days. In fact, I'll give you a little demo. I got this off of Amazon for 25 quid, neck pillow. It looks comfortable, trust me. After a few nights, it's not.
Yeah, so they actually gave that to us at the clinic, but obviously some clinics may not. If they don't, it definitely would advise you getting one.
And I would basically sleep upright like this for at least 3 nights, and it just aches your neck so much, it's actually mad. The second one is shower. Obviously, you can't just get under a direct shower. For 2 weeks, you can get your body under, but you can't get your hair under.
So you really have to watch out to keep your head away from the shower. But in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty minor.
And then 3, you can't sweat. So you can't exercise, you can't wrap up warm when you're really cold. For the first 2 weeks, you have to be careful not to sweat because it increases your chance of infection.
Yeah, so this was actually one of the biggest issues for me, because at the time I was very heavy into training and I was desperate to get back into training. So taking an entire month off of training was actually probably the most difficult part for me. But as I said, it's one of those things, you obviously are aware of that and you just put up with it. Let's watch one more and then we're going to wrap it up.
It's been 8 months since I had a hair transplant. Can't believe I'm saying that, but here is an update. This is my hairline. My new freaking hairline. On the side. Left side. I know all you guys want to see it, the donor area, so... yeah, that's my update.
It actually looks like you lost a decent amount of hair from the donor area. For myself, I personally can't see it because I always tend to keep my hair short enough. And even when my hair is long enough for you to see the hair coming through, typically because of the tattoos, it does become very difficult for you to actually gauge how much hair there is there. But it does seem like he's lost a decent amount of hair that they've obviously had to put through into his hairline. So hopefully, let's see if he's got before and after, so we can kind of see how far gone he was.
I'm freaking happy.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because he was very far gone, so they must have extracted quite a lot of those follicles. But yeah, I hope you found this useful. I'm going to leave you here. Make sure to like, make sure to follow the channel. And a lot of people are watching the shorts, but make sure to be watching the long form content. I've got a lot more content coming out. And with that, I'm going to leave the video here.
I may have made a mistake getting hair transplant. In order to get a hair transplant, you need a donation. My donor area was brave enough to sacrifice their lives in order for the front of my head to look fuller. Now, do I regret this decision? The way I'm looking? A little bit.